All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to A Round of Coffee and Questions. What's today's topic? I want to talk about pneumatic air grinders, the discs that you can buy, the Arbors, and what performs well in terms of, the carbide bits and stuff like that. Because, in the past video, I bought some off Amazon. They were junk. I sent them back. And what I ended up buying is I bought these Ufoodle right here. Now, I did a video on these. These are a good cross-hatched carbide, aggressive kind of a bit. They'd be good for wood, metal, plastic, whatever you want to use them on, and this is what they look like inside. Nice kits, nice blow molded case, easy to put away. Now, over the weekend, I got a chance from Justin to borrow the ones that he has. He gets the Kodiak. Now, I felt these, they're crossed-hatched, they're carbide, and they're a little bit kind of a finer feel, and I thought, hey, you know what? I mean, I'd like to try these. Maybe it'll act more like a rapid file or something. So he lent me them, and I decided to go ahead and try them and use them today. Now you'll see over here, let me loosen this up. All right, this is one of those Cocapelli things. And so I demoed two different air guns, by the way. I have my Cobalt right here. You can get it out at Lowe's, and I'm going to leave you links for everything below if you're interested in any of this stuff. 90 degree, okay, die grinder here, pneumatic, Cobalt. Okay, the other one that I borrowed from Justin again is Chief brand right here. And I wanted to try both of these. Now let's talk about the die grinders first. There's a ton of them out there on the market. I like the Cobalt, the 90 degree, it comes in handy. I also like this one, the Chief one. It's very lightweight, it's easy to handle with one hand. It worked well in cleaning up this stuff. Now the bits here are a bit of a different story. Now the Ufoodles are a much more aggressive grabbing kind of a bit. These other ones from Kodiak are finer, and it did do what I thought. It more like a rapid file. Depends on how much material you want to get off how rapidly. The Ufoodles, you're going to do a gentle touch. Otherwise, the sucker will grab on you hard. These, it'll still grab, but not as bad. So these are a much better set of bits. They're also more costly. I'll leave you the links below, but they're a fantastic bit. And the Ufoodles are okay. They're kind of middle of the road, DIY kind of a thing, maybe not for industrial shops, but they work good. They've been holding up well. I mean, I've had them for a while now, and like I said, I did a video on them. Now back to the air die grinders. If you don't have the oil bath hooked up, along with your regulator and so forth, remember to use air tool oil. Put a few drops in here before you use these so you don't burn up your tools. Something that people do forget, okay? And try to remember before each use. I mean, that's what I do. And I put them in little kind of hobby bottles here. And to keep them handy. That way they're in plain sight, reminds me to do it. Okay, so which bits would I buy? Well, if I got a good enough deal on them, I would definitely get these Kodiaks. If you're just looking for something and not wanting to spend the same amount of money like you would on the Kodiaks, go with the Ufoodle. They've been working great for me. And I'm going to show you in a minute when we go to questions and answers. I'll bring up the advertisements on each one of these and, just give you a brief conversation about it, and then we'll move on. Same thing with the air die grinders. Okay, now, somebody said, what good and what do you use these air die grinders for? Well, I have a lot of electric power tools, but what this comes in really handy for me for is I also have these padded discs with the Arbor here. Now, and I'll leave you the links below. You can get these out at Harbor Freight. You can get them off Amazon. And what they do is you have these flap wheels, or you can use, any kind of an abrasive wheel as long as it has a little hard plastic screw mechanism on the back, as it screws right in here into this Arbor part. You just tighten it down like this. And so these, I like using these, especially when it comes to shaping gently on these metal curvatures, and with a light touch. Now this is a big 3-inch pad. I generally don't use the 3-inch pad. What I use most of the time is I'll either use the 1-inch or the 2-inch, because I can get into more intricate areas. Also, that larger pad you'll get a fast RPM with it, and it'll do a really good job. It just depends on what you're doing. But with sheet metal and stuff, I'll usually stick with the 1 and the 2 inch, and I use the sanding discs. Sometimes these are metal sanding discs, or I use the flap wheels. Okay, now ABN, and there's another company, Benchmark Abrasive. I buy their products routinely because they are very good quality products, and they stand up really well. The Harbor Freight ones, like I have here, they're okay. Can't beat the price. And I go through them a little bit quicker than I would something like this, but these come in handy for projects too. And see, this is a thin pad, whereas this is a thick one. And it just all depends on what you're doing, but they're good products. And I would tell you to consider any of these, I mean, really, and you can get 3M buffing pads for them. Now, I use that on my tabletops of, like, let's say my table saw, my drill press, my wood lathe, my bandsaw, and I can throw a little bit of WD-40 or PB Blast or whatever I feel that I need to use. And with that 3M pad and one of these angle grinders, I can sit and clean the top and make it super clean. I wipe it down real good with a cloth. I put a coat of Johnson's paste wax on there, and that's a fast, easy way to keep, your tabletops on your equipment maintained and not getting rusty. So these are my thoughts on this. I know this isn't a long video, but I had a question relating back to that picnic table build, and it's like, hey, what do you do to clean up sloppy welds, and what do you do in certain areas when you want to kind of grind it down and make it look like it's not there and vanish and go away? I use a combination of these, the carbide burrs and these flap wheels, and it just depends. I mean, where I'm at in the project and what I'm trying to clean up. And these work really well. They can get into pretty tight, intricate areas, not everything. I may have to switch over to a real fine carbide burr to really get into some of the more detailed areas, but a lot of stuff I don't get into that much detail. So these things right here, I got the Ufoodle, the Kodiak, you got the Chief pneumatic die grinder, I showed you the Cobalt, you have a 3-inch, 2-inch, and 1-inch right here. You get abrasive wheels like I get right here. These were for 3M. Like I said, Benchmark, ABN, those are all really good products, and if they've got a sale on them and I'm running low, I mean, I go ahead and put them in my Amazon basket. I just go for it. Now, if you know of something better, go ahead and drop it in the comment below. I mean, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you folks click subscribe, stick with me. We're going to do a picnic table, and I'm going to go over it in a lot of detail because I noticed online a lot of people don't give you measurements and they don't describe to you how they do the finish, the sanding, or any of that stuff. So we'll do a project picnic table. We'll get into detail about it. That should be coming out shortly. It's got a lot of still pictures because it was a lot better for me to do it that way with explanations. I'll see you in the next video. Click subscribe, give me a thumbs up, drop me a note if you know of something better, and hopefully you'll want to make a picnic table, right? And I'll use all of these things, in building that project, and we'll talk about that. And these are not expensive. The Ufoodles, the air die grinder, the Arbors right here, the sanding discs, they're not expensive. Kodiak's going to cost you a little bit more, okay? But they're also a fantastic product. Okay, folks, so I'm going to go through these kind of quick, but I'll let you know the products that I buy and the ones that I stand behind because I keep buying them and the quality is there on them. Okay, first up is the ABN 40 grit Rollock discs. These hold up incredibly well. I do keep buying them. They're great out in the shop for woodwork or metalwork. Okay, now here's the ABN 60 grit. All links are below, and I use a bunch of different grits. I'm just showing you the ones that I buy. Okay, again, ABN 80 grit discs this time. Hit the space bar if you want to read through this. Otherwise, like I said, the links are below, but I use a variety of grits, and these are the most common ones that I buy. Again, ABN, this time it's 120 grit for, even finer sanding. Okay, so like we were talking about out in the shop, these Kodiak bits are a great bit. It's almost like a little bit finer than the Ufoodles, and I'm going to show you an ad on those in a minute. These are a little pricey at $97.99, but these are outstanding carbide bits if you're looking for something a little bit higher end. Okay, so these are the Ufoodle bits. These are the ones that after I sent back the junk ones that were bad and I got my refund, I bought these. they've turned out to be an A-OK kind of a DIY kind of a bit. They're mid-road, of course, compared to the Kodiak, but these are very doable. They have an aggressive kind of cutting pattern to them. Get used to them with a light touch, though. They could be used on wood, metal, plastic, whatever you want. I mean, these hold up really well, and I've been using them since I bought them. Okay, now besides the die grinders I showed you, the pneumatic ones, what else can you buy? You can buy the Ingersoll Ram. Now this is a good 90-degree air die grinder. I like the 90-degree, but I also like the ones that are straight. Now out at the club, there are a couple of the members that have this Ingersoll Ram and they love it. So this is one good product idea. I mean, if you're in the market for an air die grinder. Another favorite out at the tool club that I belong to is this DeWalt air die grinder. It's the straight one, but it's nice. It's lightweight. It's got a nice grip to it. I felt it. I don't own this one, but there are several members out there that absolutely love this that have bought it, and it's at a reasonable price right now for $50. You know, compared to $60, so you get about $10 off. $11.61, 19% off. Okay, now this is one of the favorites that I bought a while back because I like these 3M kind of pads that come on here. You get coarse, medium grit, and fine grit, and you get the Arbor and the pad holder. So, I mean, this is a pretty good deal if you want the 2-inch. Now, remember, I use 1-inch and 2-inch. There is a 3-inch. I don't use it that often, like I said, but this is a good bargain. It gets you started with a 2-inch, and these are good for cleaning off, like I said, the bed of like your table saw, your bandsaw, your drill press, whatever you got going on out in the shop, or anything that you want to clean up without scratching it like you would like sandpaper. Okay, so here's a 2-pack. I mean, if you're interested, you can get them. It's, you know, the pad holders. I mean, it's a good deal at $9. Ships Prime, all that stuff, if you want to buy them independently. Okay, now like I told you, I also buy from Benchmark Abrasives, and you can see the grits up here, 36, 40, 80, 120. Sometimes I buy all three of these, you know, one package of each, and then that way, you know, I have a little surplus inventory, you know, in the shop, and I just walk over, and when I'm running low, well, then I just repeat the buy on that particular grit. But Benchmark Abrasives is another one of my go-tos because they make great products. Okay, here's another one from Benchmark Abrasives. I mean, these I like. They're a little bit thick. They last a long time. They last a lot longer than the little flat sanding discs. Okay, Harbor Freight time. Now, this I saved towards the end. This is that Chief pneumatic die grinder that I demoed that Justin let me. I like it. I mean, for $35 plus, you know, you'll be able to use a coupon on this or something and get it even cheaper. This is a nice, handy little tool. Fits in the palm of one hand. It's comfortable. Trigger mechanism is pretty much the same as in all of them. It's a 1/4 inch. I mean, this works really good for a pneumatic air die grinder. And somebody made the comment, it's noisy. Well, they're all noisy. I have news for you. I mean, even on the videos, I mean, I go ahead and I turn the audio off. It's kind of an obnoxious sound after a while. But I mean, you know, just wear hearing protection or whatever if it bothers you. But this is a good deal. It's a good little air die grinder. Okay, you can hit the pause key if you want to read a little bit more, I mean, about the Chief air die grinder. This is off of their site, the advertisement. I'll show you one more picture and we'll conclude here. Okay, so this is something to consider too. I mean, the nice thing about this is if you have a Harbor Freight store near you, if you're dissatisfied with this after you buy it, they take them back. I mean, not a problem. I don't think you're going to be dissatisfied with this. Now you got the holidays coming up and Christmas time and all of that, and a lot of this stuff should go on sale. So look at the links below. If there's something that you're interested in, make sure you put it in your shopping cart on Amazon and take advantage of the Christmas sales that'll be coming up. And if you're out at Harbor Freight and you got your coupons, I mean, you might want to pick up this one by Chief. Either way, okay, those are my thoughts. Those are the tools that I use or the ones that the club members use. I'm the home handyman. I hope you click subscribe. Keep following me. If you know a better die grinder, you got a comment on a better deal somewhere, put it in the comments below whether people can benefit from it. Otherwise, give me a thumbs up, click subscribe. I'll keep doing these videos. I'll keep bringing you the deals and letting you know what I use and what works and what doesn't work. Like I said, those old Amazon bits didn't work. The Ufoodles work. The Kodiaks are great. All of them are good products. You know, I've demoed them. So I'll see you on the next video. We'll get into some more projects here shortly.